Welcome to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are with a gentleman who won a very big event, a main event in Georgia. Now, some of you may not think that there are casinos in Georgia, but similar to many of you who know about New Hampshire that has charity poker rooms, they also have these in Georgia. Little Kings and Queens held what they called the Freedom Bash Tournament Series through June 23rd through July 6th of this year. And this RunGood Ambassador, one of my teammates, won the main event. And this event for first prize was a pretty nice sum of about $45,000. Welcome to the show, Preston McEwen. Preston, thanks for joining us here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It was definitely an event that was huge. I'm sure COVID and everyone cooped up. Everyone was jonesing to play. And so a lot of people came out. Were they expecting this big of a crowd?
I think they were expecting a crowd. The buzz kind of got around a little bit. Their last series was not quite this big. So this was definitely, it blew all the numbers out of the water.
Are they, is the plan to do more and more of these series with the success that this one had?
I believe so. They're a new series. They're a new charity organization. They're trying to build it up year after year. And what's cool about it is they're taking player feedback and they're taking it seriously. They don't have the experience some of these other stops do. So they're taking it all to heart, and they're gonna. It seems like they're gonna be really building this thing up over the next couple of years. Yeah.
Are there a lot of rooms in the Georgia area?
I think this is the only one that I know of.
Oh, wow. And that's good. And how long has it been around?
They are having their 1-year anniversary next month, I believe.
Oh, wow. So just really, really very, very brand new. So good for them.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before we get into the event itself, let's talk a little bit about your background. I'd love to get my listeners to kind of learn a little bit more about you. And how did you get involved in poker?
Well, my background is mostly most of my adult life, I was a musician. I started playing. I got my first paycheck playing music at 17, and from then on, I was committed. And up until I was about late 20s, 28, 29, I was full time. I was a touring musician, and
Wow.
Poker was kind of like my escape when I got home. I would come home, play cash games with friends, play some bar poker league stuff. Didn't really play a whole lot of tournaments because I was always playing on weekends, and tournaments were usually on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like the local Tunica tournaments went. Being from Memphis, being a musician, it was kind of like a side gig for me up until about, I turned 29, got married, had my first kid. After, a year into having my first kid and being on the road, I decided it was a little too tough. So left music, or left touring at least. I decided to go back to school, finish my audio production degree, so I could at least work in town and raise my kids. And first week of school, going back to school, I go down to Biloxi, Mississippi, play a $400 event, $350, something like that, and get 7th out of about 3,000 players for $17K. And decided, let's take this thing seriously. Let's try to make something happen. And it kind of all started from there.
Nice. And where's home right now?
Home, I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right outside Nashville about 3 years ago. So I was in Memphis my whole life, and then just recently moved to Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so obviously big music area, so you could utilize your degree if you need to.
Exactly. That was the plan. Yeah. So it was interesting because I went back to school for that one semester, did well in my classes, but it was all review for me. I had already worked in a studio, so these recording classes I was taking classes with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds that were just now getting in.
Right.
They were all about the social aspect of college. I was about really learning.
Right.
And it seemed like I was wasting my time, wasting money. That first 17K lick, 6K of that went to that semester. So I decided I'd rather just focus on poker for a minute and decide to hold off school again.
Right. Well, later on that week, you took down a deep stack event for about 6K and kept getting these, basically little wins here and there. How did you get hooked up with the Run Good Poker Series?
So Run Good was coming through Tunica here and there, and I played a few of those events. I think I won their I think it was a $150 deep stack event or something like that for about 5K, 4K, 5K.
Yep.
Started really chatting with the Tana and some of the crew, and it just things were clicking. I didn't expect to get brought on to Run Good at all. I think it was the next series. Tana reached out to me and just asked, let's hang out, let's go have a lunch and talk. And I wasn't expecting anything like this. I thought, I had just finished fourth, I think, in what their deep stack event, that series. And I figured he just wanted to, get some perspective from a local player. And turns out that interview or that discussion, that meeting was more about, getting on board with Run Good. And it looked like he wanted a representative from the Tunica area. It was their biggest stop at the time. And it just, we clicked and things seemed to go well. And so here we are.
Yeah. And I think the Run Good events, obviously 2-time mid-major tour of the year via GPI, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, do you find it? I mean, it's just such a great time. You go to the World Series circuits, you go to MSPT, the former HPT, there's no discredit to those. I literally lived off of WSOP circuits for years, playing WPTs, but I think that they are a little bit more serious, right? And that's a good thing too, right? That's a good thing. They're serious poker tournaments, but I think what Tana has done is really made kind of a festive atmosphere. And mind you, these tournaments are serious tournaments, and in the sense of the main event, I mean, you can get $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on some of these. That's not something to sneeze about, but they are a lot of fun, right?
Right. Yeah. Tana does a great job of that. When I first met him, he's like, "Hey, what are we drinking?" He's buying shots, and
right.
We're going out late night, having a good time, and it's just one of those laid back atmospheres. He does a really good job of, the celebrity bounty event. So it's themed in some kind of way that makes people feel comfortable and laid back. And, it's not the short day ones, especially like invite the recreational players who don't want to play a 14-hour day one. And, I think the way he set it up, it's really great for people who just like to play poker and have a good time.
Right. And I think that's the fun of it all, like you said. And obviously for yourself, you've had some good success at those events. You live kind of all within, it's a little bit of drive, maybe 3-4 hours to Cherokee, Tunica, the stop, this Little Kings and Queens in Georgia. So you definitely have to plan it out, but you can make these trips, and you've obviously done well. You did well in the global, the $400 event double stack at the Cherokee, finishing third for 22. You cashed in the 2019 World Series main event. Definitely always a thrill to do that. Talk a little bit about that. That must have been an incredible experience. Was that your first main event ever?
No, I actually played the year before. I had caught wind of all these home game leagues, satellite series that were going on. I decided to play one myself, or run one myself, and I had a bunch of friends back in Memphis, so we started a league. We had about 20 to 30 players, and we did a tournament twice a month. And whoever had the most points at the end of the season got the seat, and then they get 50% of their action. Everybody else splits up the other 50%.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So went in I guess it was 2018, and played, busted at the end of day one with aces into a set on King 7-3, and was devastated. It's first time playing the main event. You bust day one with aces, and you're upset. But I realized how significant that tournament was when I was there playing it. How good the structure was, how soft the field actually is, and decided I'm going to find a way to play it next year. So the next year rolled around, and I sold enough action to make it worth it. Sold about half myself, and got in there and made a run to day 4, and squeaked out a little cash, but actually got a little bit of the experience of running somewhat deep in the main event.
Right. It's an incredible tournament for those who have never played in the World Series main event, and I'll plug my book, The Poker Satellite Success. If you're interested in playing it, obviously satellites are the way to go right now, but it's an event that is like no other. I've told people many times, it's an event that has multiple tournaments within itself.
Right.
Incredibly, I think the first tournament is day 1. And then it's from day 2 to the money.
Yeah.
And then after the money breaks, it's like each day is kind of like another tournament, because they're long days, long fields. And I mean, really, what's unbelievable is that what other tournament do people applaud and call each other after they get through day 1?
Right.
I mean, what other tournament in the world do they call people and say, I made it through day 1?
Right. Bagging the main event for the first time is such a pretty sick feeling.
It was funny because I played in a tournament. I forget where, to be honest. I think it was no, I don't think it was 2 ago. I forget where. And we were playing at a table and people were talking about the World Series, blah, blah, blah. And this gentleman didn't know my background, which I'm not saying you should have known my background. You just didn't know my background. Yeah. And they were talking about the World Series or whatever. And we were talking about the main event and how great of an event it was. And we didn't talk about cashing, but he said to me, he goes, yeah, it's a phenomenal, my good friend, he made it to day 2. He made it through day 1 last year. Have you ever done that? He literally, that's what he asked me. I go, yeah, I've done it. He goes, oh yeah? Yeah. What day did you get to? And I was like, 7. He goes,
yeah, you got 11th or something, right?
Yeah, 13th. Yeah.
So 13th,
it was just it was kind of funny that what it was. And again, I wasn't showing off. Right. It was just more of just a very funny way of how my point of it is how it was so important to him and his buddy that he got through day 1. Right. And it was such a big deal. And it is. Don't get me wrong. It is. It's a major deal. It's so funny how people are like literally turning their head trying to see like, oh, there's only 30 minutes left and I get through day 1, that kind of thing,
the year I cashed, the end of day 1, I opened queens and a guy, it was like maybe 10 minutes until bagging. He just flatted kings, dry flop, flats kings again. I go 3 streets and he just flats the entire way because he was so committed to bagging.
Right.
I mean, we were both deep. Like he could have probably gotten a good chunk off me if he wanted to.
Right. And you see how important that was. You know what I mean? It is definitely the one event where bubbling would suck. I mean, like really suck. You know what I mean? Like it's because it's one of those things where you would think about it all year long, like getting that close to the main. Like other events, you don't think about it that much, but it would suck. It would really suck.
I got close to that actually. I was on end of day 3. We were about 100 off the money, but 100 goes quick.
Oh, fast.
In the main up until about 5 to 10 off the money. It was going pretty quick that year, and I got in king queen to ace queen, and for 15 bigs effective, and spiked the king on the flop.
That's a good thing, obviously. Definitely a good thing. I've had 2 of mine were very, very comfortable going into the bubble, like not really much of a sweat, gonna make it. And then the other 2, not that I was dead, but I was definitely short. And you really had to make a choice. And I definitely folded some hands that I wouldn't normally fold, but you don't have a choice. I mean, you just don't have a choice at that point. If your decision is to make the cash, right? If your decision to make the cash. And
I mean, I could have folded the king queen if it was just to min cash, but I wanted to play a little bit, and given the positions, is a little bit of a.
Yeah, I mean that's just really the decisions you make. Obviously, as we were talking about the World Series, cashing in the main event, but obviously you've done very well in the RunGood series as well, winning a couple of the events. We won also in 2020. One of the series closures as well. you play a lot of live tournaments following Run Good or in that kind of south east area. When COVID hit, obviously the world changed, right? So
Right.
tell me a little bit about what kind of happened for you in that scenario. You were able to play in November of 2020 down in kind of the Choctaw area because that opened up a little bit more than what other parts of the country were, but still we did all shut down for a considerable amount of time. How did that affect you?
Right. Yeah, I mean, everything, just like a lot of players, everything went online, and I started grinding more online MTTs, playing more cash games. Really, what paid the bills was the cash games and some of these private clubs online.
Yeah.
And and without those, like, I don't know what I would have done. But with 2 kids and living in Middle Tennessee, it's not too cheap out here, and so luckily that was successful, and that kind of got me through that period.
Yeah.
And then until live poker opened up.
So, with regards to playing online, do you feel like that might have even helped you a little bit as you went back to live poker? Because I know I've talked to some people saying like, actually playing online, it's a lot more technical and a lot more, really looking at stack sizes and all that kind of stuff. And it actually helped me moving forward. Do you feel like that way?
Yeah, especially the fields I was playing in. I was already pretty acclimated to. I mean, these are mid-stakes series. They're not, most of these players are there to have a good time, and that's what I kind of been around for the past decade of playing poker. So
yeah,
I was already, as far as like exploitative play goes, I was already kind of there. But really locking down and learning more GTO approaches and learning more technical approaches, and I had a couple buddies that really helped me along the way. And those few months, like, kind of sharpened my game to the point where I had that baseline more solidified. And then when I went to these live series, I could, whoever I was playing against, whatever the table draw was, I felt really comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. How was the, kind of the field, based off of experience and all that? Was it a relatively, soft field, for better or worse?
Do you mean the first live series back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Pearl River. I had never played there before. I had heard good things for the previous couple years, that this was a series that is a must play if you're in the area, and I was blown away when I got down there.
Really?
I think I cashed 4 out of the 5 tournaments I played. Did well in the cash games. Had a couple really deep runs that, I think I had chip lead in the monster stack almost the entire day, and then took some rough beats to bubble the final table. But yeah, the field, they were there to gamble. They were there to have fun and splash around. Until coming out of COVID, they were ready to play.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's really the incredible thing that's been going on right now. You look at all the fields, whether it's Vegas or wherever it is, these fields are just massive right now, and everyone's playing and everyone wanting to. I think the World Series World Series online, and then of course in October, World Series Live. It'll be very interesting and very exciting. I think the main event's got a chance to break 10,000 players for the first time. And if Europe opens up, I know that there are some restrictions right now with regards to COVID, and certain countries are starting to see this variant strain Japan was shut down, et cetera. But if the countries are opened up, I think there is a chance. I really do. I think there are going to be so many people who will want to play that it's going to. Really
looking at these like WPT numbers, things that are going on in Vegas. I mean, I don't see how it's not I actually was a little skeptical until things started really opening up. I thought it might be more like 5,000-6,000, but now I think it has a chance to get up there, like upwards of 10.
Yeah, I think some of the the reunion events, all these Colossus events, they're going to be massive, right? I mean, because they're relatively affordable buy-ins, and I say that with respect to the main World Series, right? They're $4,500 as opposed to $1,500 buy-ins, et cetera. But when you get to like midway during the series, I could see it being a little smaller than usual. That's just my guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I think like a random third week Tuesday event, that's a $1,500 no limit hold'em event. I could personally see it actually only having like 1,100 people as opposed to the normal 2,800. That's just a guess because, still the world is what it is right now. And I think
Right.
people will be coming out for the main, and the weekends, but I'm not really sure about midweek like it has been in the past. That's just a guess. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I'm proven wrong, right? But
It
we'll
seems
see
like
how
there's
that is.
even more main event satellites going on now, like Cherokee. It's not an official WSOP stop coming up in August, but I mean, it's a Cherokee series based around the structures and buy-ins of a normal circuit stop. They're running main event satellites the entire time.
Right. Right.
Some of these other series are doing the same thing. So there's going to be a lot of satellite entries, and if you've ever wanted to play the main event, I think this is the year to do it.
Right. 100%. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be crazy how much it
Yeah.
would be. So yeah, it's definitely one of those. Oh, if you could have a run, this is the year to have that run, right?
Right.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Preston about his victory at the Little Kings and Queens in Georgia when we return as we continue the 14th anniversary celebration of the Bernard Lee Poker Show.